We'll begin with a reign of terror. A few murders here and there.
Hello friends and fiends, welcome back to another edition of Blood and Guts, HHN, where we're breaking down the blood and guts of Halloween Horror Nights 32. And with me as always is Lon Chaney's lover, Matt. How's it going, Matt?
Fantastic evil, Adam, because as I always say, you can always go back and love Lon Chaney.
That's right. Okay. Tonight, guys, we're going to be giving you our HHN 32 house reviews. And we're going to break down a little bit of the houses. Now, this is not our official rank of the houses. That video will come a little bit later on. Mm-hmm. Tonight, we're just going to be giving you an overview of the houses, what we thought about them, what we thought worked, what we thought didn't. Some of the scares, did they get us, did they not, kind of thing. Giving you a little bit of that kind of information.
Exactly. So, I mean, you may see we review a house. When you see the reviews here, we rank them pretty high or review them pretty high. But when we actually get to the ranking episode, you might say, hey,
you see where it falls, yeah.
Personally for us. So.
Exactly. So we'll let you go ahead and kick us off here. We're going to do this going around the park as if you're coming in from the front. So we're just going to go from the front to the back of the park and work our way around.
Absolutely. And one thing to preface as well, we're actually going to break this one up into 2 episodes. So hang tight with us. When you see we get to the 5th house and we break it down, don't lose hope. We're going to hit you with that 2nd episode to round out the 10 houses.
Oh, yeah.
So, starting off with the very first house, we got Blood Moon Dark Offerings. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to kick it to you, Adam. What were your initial thoughts on this house? And one thing we're going to fail to mention as well, we're going to do scares, immersiveness, and our overall rankings, or overall review.
Yep, and it was as soon as I walked in from the sound stage, from the outside to the inside, and saw that beginning. Mm-hmm. With the facade and the sign of the town and I knew we were in for a treat.
Same here. Like when you walked in, you see the colonial times, and just like give a little breakdown. It's got colonial era villagers begin to worship the moon, hunting down any non-followers. Try not to become part of their grisly offering. So that sets the mood.
That's what it is.
I know, and we'll delve more into rings. But I know going in, we were kind of worried because Roanoke House wasn't really a huge hit, and then last year's house, the Covenant, Spirit of the Covenant.
It did sound like Spirits of the Covenant a little bit. Yeah.
But this is a very well done house.
It was great. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. The costumes were great. I mean, everything. You were in colonial times. Mm-hmm. You know, there was no question of that.
So we'll skip the scares for right now, and we'll come back to it. I'm just talking about this. How do you feel about the immersiveness of this house?
Oh yeah, that's an easy 5. Mm-hmm. From 1 through 5, that's a 5 for sure, because this thing was, and we did the tour, so we got to see a little bit extra, which we're going to bring you a video on that later on too. Mm-hmm. But this house was just beautiful.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. I give it a 5, perfect score for it as well, just because it was so well done. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we'll get into more details with the tour on it, but the actors, the costumes looked great. They were great in character. Did a great job, setting up scares. And like I said, we'll get to the scares as well. Mm-hmm. But everything with the house, all the scenes, different scenes. You had the chapel scene. You had the bell, the tolling of the bell there towards the end. Mm-hmm. Just fantastic, well done. I cannot remember. I'm sure we'll remember it when we get to the tour, but the one that was over this house, the
designer,
is the same one designed pure last year. So had I known that going in, I would have already had this one higher on my bucket list.
Oh yeah.
So kicking it, then I'm gonna stick with me for the scares. It wasn't a 5 as far as scares goes. I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah.
But I still thought the scare actors done a great job in it. But the most of the scares that got me were I can't think of the door slamming down where it gets you with
The
the
drop
loud
down
noise.
door, yeah.
But now there was one scare actor did a fantastic job where when you walked into a room, you can see her setting up the scare. You think she's after you, but she's not. She's getting you as you get further in. But me and her locked eyes.
She's looking at you through the window.
Right, look through the window
of the town.
and then come yank that window open and say, "You look ripe."
Yep. Yeah, that was a good one. So the scares were great. They were on point. I think the first run through we did, I got more than the second, but that's okay because in the second run through I got to watch you and others, get more, which is perfectly fine with me as well. So the scares were on point. I'm going to go ahead and give that a 4.
Nice. Yeah, like just to add on to that as well, like that first run we done, we actually had a couple in front of us, and once we got into the chapel, and you see all the bodies sitting there, and the guy in front, he's bigger than I am. I mean, I'm 6'4", 250 pounds, so I'm not small by no means, but he's like, "Oh my gosh, don't move, please don't move." Oh, move like that. So I was about to just laugh my hind end off at that, but very well done. Overall, then I'm giving the house itself a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was extremely well done, very like detail oriented, and they nailed every detail. Just seeing the bodies laid out in the house, and they had like the cornucopias,
the gourds,
the gourds, and all that stuff in it. Just very well done.
Yep, I'm going to give it a 5 because it was a very pleasant surprise for me, and I believe now that was one of the first houses along those lines that we did the first run. So that's why I walked in and I was like, "Oh man, I'm in for a treat this year."
Yeah.
So,
and that's one thing you'll see too, Booze and Ghouls, is this is a very solid year.
It's a solid year. It's hard to rank this year. So
then moving right along, then we got The Exorcist Believer, and
and this fell pretty low on our initial ranking list.
Yeah,
because it's a house that for a movie that's not even out yet. So.
And I mean the trailer left a lot to be desired of it, so I wasn't really too thrilled with it. I mean we discussed that in our previous video, but going in I was pleasantly surprised with this one as well. The scares in this one, very, very solid scares.
I watched you get some of those.
Like you're in the house and you're in cramped spaces and you're walking around the possessed girl, like just a little semicircle going around her, and her having a field day scaring everybody. And
she got at your ankle one night,
and
it was a downward swipe of a scare. She got at his ankle, and he freaked out. And I got to watch this happen. And so she didn't get me, but she's
working on me.
So that was just classic. I love it.
But oh man, like there's so many good scares in that house. Like I had oh man, like when you go into the woods, and you see them looking for the girls. The demons
come out, and the demon was right in your face. Right in your face. It was great.
Yep.
I'm gonna give the scares on my end. I'm gonna give it a 5.
I give it. I initially had a 4 written down. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Like I had to go up because, like I said, there wasn't really many times where it felt like cheap scares. Like they were genuine good.
Oh, they were having a good time.
They were house. Exactly. You can tell they were enjoying it.
The smells, the sets. Now, one thing I will say about the set is, of course, I feel like personally, I don't think anybody spoke about this, but I feel like they used a little bit of the set from Chupacabra as the opening set.
The cave when you first walked in.
Which is fine. And then at one point, all the different smells were definitely all over the board. Some good, some really, really bad.
Yeah.
Especially on the wall.
Yeah.
Where something had been written in shit on the wall. But,
But that goes like to the immersiveness when we talk about this. This house, like I said, you talked about the smells, and this is one, like I said, where the smells really got me. Because first night I went, I heard they dialed it back a little bit as the night went along.
Opening night,
yeah, because people were complaining about it. But that whenever me and you went, it hit us like a ton of bricks and like had me gagging.
Yep.
And so I mean, for me to say it had me gagging, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, this was a pretty rough one.
So, but then like all the other sets, I felt like I was in the woods when they're searching for the girls. I felt like I was in the hospitals when they're begging for their mama, and then also being in the houses during the exorcism itself. Like I said, it's well done. I felt completely immersed, and so for that, I'm gonna give it a solid 4.
Yeah, I'm going with a 4 on that too. This was a good solid house, and it did creep up a little bit. It was one that was a sleeper hit, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
it kind of came out of left field. So
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, it actually has me interested in seeing the movie. Like, I know I'm not really a big fan of possession movies, but for the house to be that good, I'll probably give the movie a shot. I may not go opening weekend.
Yeah.
Wait for word of mouth on it, but
yeah, I know. But then part of me is going to feel upset and disappointed if some of the scenes from the house are not in the movie.
correct, yeah.
Instead of maybe like, oh, the house was better than the movie. So yeah.
So then overall, like I said, solid house. Overall, I'm giving it a 4 bones.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going right there with you. I'm giving it a 4.
Good deal. So then moving along, then we have what was my most anticipated house of the year, Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
And for that one, we have the listing here is band together with your squad to resist Vecna's gruesome curse as you take on the scariest season of Stranger Things yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, no one going in, we already knew ahead of time by doing the research that like everything involved in Russia
Is
gonna
out.
be
That's
out.
out. Yep.
So we know it's going to be focused mainly on Vecna and what Vecna is doing to the kids and the group of kids.
Right.
So your initial thoughts on the house, like as far as scares goes, how what were you thinking? Like, what did you see? How did you feel about it?
The scares were great. The run through, the couple of run throughs. The scares were right on point, and I feel like the second night we went, the scares were. The actors were ready. It's like they had. I don't know if they had just came into the house to start their shift, or if they were just waiting to get out to end their shift. But they were in your face. They were on point.
Yeah, I thought they did.
So-
Like I said, I thought they done a great job as well walking into that trailer to begin with. And you see Eddie trying to wake Chrissy up,
Yep.
and him just popping out from his bedroom. Like I said, even though it's just Eddie, that's a good shock when you're not expecting him coming.
Mm-hmm.
But then the deeper you get in the house, like you see lots of Vecnas, and for the most part, Vecna looked amazing.
Vecna did look,
And,
look pretty good.
Great makeup, great costumes on it, and like I said, the scare actors themselves done a
They
great
looked
job.
a lot like the characters. I will say that
They
did a
did.
great job at casting actors who looked like their counterpart.
Absolutely, and like I said, for me, I enjoyed it. For the scares, like I said, I got a couple times, like especially when you come around them corners and Vecna pops out with that big old long finger, because it's one of those things like normally the scare actors don't get me, but then when you see a finger that close to your face, it's going to make you jump. So like I said, they got me quite a few times on that. So for that, I'm going to give the scares a 4.
Yeah, because I mean they got even the actors who weren't Vecna, like the some of the other. What do you call them? Not cast members, but the other players. Got me pretty well. The normal, the kids, got me pretty good, and that set it up for Vecna. So that was a good one.
Yeah, and kicking it back then, let's delve into the immersiveness. I thought all the sets on this one were really well done. I know Netflix and Universal partnered together on this to what they wanted to show, how they wanted it to flow.
Right.
I thought they done a great job. Like I said, starting out in Eddie's trailer, everything looked really great as far as that
the
goes.
sets look great.
Then going through and seeing 11 fighting with 1 in the children's hospital. Yeah,
that was a great scene.
Extremely well done. And then you kind of get into the upside down, and then you see where you're looking up through the trailer, you can see the upside down.
Oh, when they're dropping the sheet.
Yeah, great shot. And you see then you start seeing Nancy's dreams, and you see like Vecna whenever he was a kid in that old house. Like I said, I thought all the sets were extremely well done, well designed, had some great props in there. So for me, I really felt like I was in the show. And so for that, I'm giving that a 5 for immersiveness.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna say that what took me out of it a little bit more was the fact of the screens, the curved screens, and you can clearly see the projections on them. There's call out one in particular is the one where you're going through and there's the casket, and it's supposed to be the wood, so they're projecting the woods onto the background of the screen. Why can't you just put a few fake trees in there and make the woods? Like, that's what really took me out of it, was a lot of the screens. I mean, because I was in it. I'm in it. I'm immersed. I'm going through the trailer. I'm immersed. I'm totally, you've got me, hook, line, and sinker. And then I walk through and there's supposed to be woods, but there's a curved screen. I can see the curtain behind it, and there's a projection of woods, which in some of your other houses this year, you pretty much had woods.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm just, as for me, that took me out of it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and give that a 3
Yeah.
for the immersiveness. I did love the sets though.
Yeah.
But those screens just took me out.
Hey, fair points. Moving along, then we're going to keep it at you. How did you feel overall about the house?
Overall, I'm going to give it I think I'm going to give it a probably a 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go. Like I said, it ain't a perfect house by no means, but I'm going to give it a 4.5 because everything I was expecting, even to have such a high bar I had for it, I thought it delivered for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, because those sets were really well done, and just hearing the sounds like, Chrissy, wake up. I don't like that.
I don't like that.
That just sets the mood in there. And like I said, you see Eddie him and Dustin.
Yeah.
Battling the demi bats and all that good stuff. Like I said, they just really covered that well. So for me, I give it a 4.5.
Yeah, and I felt like though the run up the hill scene was also just a screen.
Yeah, it
with
was
like a projection on of the background of her levitating, and I thought you really missed a good shot here to have a levitating, dummy almost, you know, and then have real actors reaching, trying to pull, come back to us, come back. You have that real dramatic heartstring scene with the song playing, and you get a screen. So
well, they need to hire you for that. So
well, I don't know if they can afford me, but so
nice. Then moving right along, then that's a good segue. But like I said, no, you make some great points on that house. Like I said, there's definitely things they could add on to it to get better. Now, I mean, to be fair too, like since it is a dual partnership with Netflix, there's no telling what they may have ex-nayed on or said you can't do.
And from the rumor, they're hard to work with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So then moving right along, moving right down the New York Street, we got Dueling Dragons, Choose Thy Fate, and it's.
What a house!
It's a house. It is. It's a fantastic house, and like I said, we'll delve into it in a second. But it's kind of like a mixed bag as far as like when you're thinking about horror elements and all that good stuff as well. So, just thinking about from a scare aspect of it and that scare category, to me, there was not many scares in the house. Like the scare actors themselves done a fantastic job, and they look great.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, they were coming at you like the trolls. Now the trolls did look amazing.
Yeah, everything.
But for me, I give it a 2 on scares. Like I said, because I didn't get got. And even when they pop out, they're probably the biggest scare I got throughout the house is when we won on the eyesight and Merlin popped out.
Merlin did get me.
Yeah,
Merlin got me, got you. But yeah, I'm give that I'm gonna give it a 4 on scares, just because I did get got quite a few times in this house, and that's what we were just speaking on earlier. Is I noticed that when you're in front of me and they get you, now sometimes they'll get me directly because I'm generally behind you, but sometimes they get both of us. Sometimes I get to watch you get got. So but
and like
this one, I feel like they missed you
right
and went right on to me.
But even then, like the stuff I saw, and it's really honestly, it's not me trying to knock it down because I think it's a fantastic house.
Oh,
and it's well done.
Beautiful house.
It's just not. It's not the type of house where I think it's really going to get me as far as like the set pieces and how they set it up.
Yeah.
Now when we get to immersiveness, I'm totally immersed in this house. It is beautiful.
At not one point do you feel like, I'm not in the queue of Dueling Dragons. Whereas, and I understand for a lot of you younger viewers, or maybe just folks that didn't get to experience the queue of Dueling Dragons, but we did extensively, and I remember that queue being so awesome, they recreated this damn near perfectly. With the only thing I will say is that yes, you have the scene with the ice knight is frozen up on the ceiling, all the things are frozen. The queue you would go through, and there was another scene with the knights. They were melted, they were burned. Yeah, maybe a little bit more of that. But other than that, it was a great throwback to the ride.
Well, they did have some of the ones that were melted. Which got a little bit pictures. Yeah. But like I said, I give this one a 5 as far as immersiveness goes. Yeah. Because I felt like I was there in those castles. We had 3 great facades.
Oh, great! Yeah.
Oh,
man. The oak, the castle, the other castle with the dragon. Everything was just like, you're right. There was 3 facades, and the Rapunzel with the shot full of arrows, and the big chains for the drawbridge and the ground that looked like. Sometimes the ground would look like. And
even
great.
going back to the scare actors, like their designs, like for the fire, for the ice, the trolls, Merlin looking great. Everything looked amazing and was well done. Detail was great.
Yep.
I love seeing like the chess pieces on them. It had like all the animations.
Glowing,
It had the glowing on there. I thought that was well done.
Yeah, those were great.
So, are you in agreement then? Is it a 5 for you, or are you going?
Oh, immersiveness? Yes, that's a 5. That's a total 5 for me.
So no picking nits on that one.
No. I was in there, and I was, I loved hearing the Merlin voice as soon as you walk in. It was kind of like a throwback to the Tooth Fairy. It kind of builds you into that story.
Yes,
as you
that
walk
was
in,
awesome.
And he's like, 2 dragons, fire and ice. He's got his Merlin voice. That was great.
Yeah, like I said, very well done.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, then I'll keep it. I gave it a 3.5 bones out of 5, and it's kind of like how we discussed earlier, and just kind of let the audience in on it as well. I think this is a great house, but as far as like the horror aspect of it and being Halloween Horror Nights, it kind of missed the mark a little bit for me, and I really don't know what they could have done though,
right?
To make it.
What could you do? It's kind of
it's not.
Hard call.
It is not a bad house at all.
No, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Awesome. Exactly. It's a beautiful house. I'm just like reviewing it as far as like thinking like scares overall, like the gruesomeness of it.
I felt not really any blood. I mean, very little blood.
Right.
In this one. But then you got scenes at the end where Merlin's popping out and scaring the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Because he did, and he popped out.
And I mean, we didn't see this, but now there are rumors that on some nights you'll see one of the wizards holding Merlin's severed head.
Yes, I have seen that in some of the videos.
I hadn't seen that. Now
we didn't get that on our runs. No, we got Merlin, which was awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a overall as far as the house goes. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a fair rating for it.
Because I mean, to pull off what they and everybody, that was everyone's question. How are they going to pull it off?
And let us know in the comments though. For this house, how did you feel about the house? Did you enjoy it? Did you feel like it had opportunities as well? Like I said, I'd love to hear from you because I know this is a house where
it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, and like I said, it's one of those where if you have a diehard horror fan, they're probably not going to get a lot out of it.
No.
But now, like for nostalgia, for the ones that went to Universal, like we're talking about, and rode that fantastic roller coaster.
Yeah.
Awesome, fantastic.
Awesome
house.
callback. Yeah, to the. The only thing that would have made it better would have been if a B&M inverted was at the end of it and you could get on it and ride.
And one thing we didn't mention that we need to kind of touch on too is the Choose Thy Fate. They done a great job. I mean, they made it to where it wasn't complicated like in years past where they wanted to do that and people were kind of getting stuck.
Like in the original Scarecrow, and I believe there was a few others where it changed it immediately. But
yeah, they did a great job. And ice is a little bit longer, but the fire had like a little bit more gore and details on it. So it had depending on what fate you chose, some good little tidbits for you.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, is it a horror house? No, not at all. It's fantasy. Mm-hmm. But is it a good house?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would recommend it. Mm-hmm. I would say if you're going to Horror Nights and you've got 5 houses left to go and you've never done this one, definitely do yourself a favor. Go through it a couple of times. Well,
moving on then to the last house that we're covering on this episode, we got Yeti Campground Kills. And in the 1950s campground, a group of towering, terrifying Yetis are running rampant, ripping apart anyone who gets in their way.
Yeah.
So, starting with you, Evil Adam, how did you feel about the scares of this house?
Scares are great. The Yetis always get me. They're towering. Mm-hmm. I mean, they got guys that are the same size as you, big guy,
or taller,
or even bigger, playing these Yetis, and the period piece element of it. Because once again, we did do the tour, so we did get to get an extensive look at the props and sets inside of this house. Are definitely 50s inspired.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of Ranger Rick. Little comics, that were like, as we were doing the tour, I was like, this is like some of those old campgrounds we used to go to, and they'd give us Ranger Rick comics, to read. But yeah, it was great. Scares were good. I'm going to go ahead and give that a 4. I missed a few of them during our first run, but I got to see you get got, and then but it's also a pleasure to hear the people behind you when they get, because maybe you missed that scare. Maybe you see that Yeti, he's lurking over here in the shadows. He didn't come out at you,
right?
And he's
You've
waiting.
seen him reset.
You've seen him reset and wait, but then behind you, you hear blood curdling screams, and you're like, you're laughing, you're having a good time. You're like, those people just got ripped back there. So
yeah, I've got to piggyback off of you. I actually give the scares just a little bit higher. I give it 4.5.
Okay.
And like I said, now I did get more of the scares than what you did, but I thought it was extremely well done. The way they had them positioned. The Yetis look great. I mean, one thing I wish, and that's more of the immersiveness, even though I give the immersiveness really high, I wish they could articulate their mouth a little bit, but it's more just a mask. But the way they have it lit, you can't really tell much of a difference on it anyway.
Right.
But the scare actor's done a fantastic job. They come out of every corner, and the way they had them set up, like there'll be I can't remember exactly how you call it, where they have the mirror, the two-way mirror, where you can see both sides, where they're kind of hiding, pop out of nowhere. Done a fantastic job with that. So I give it, like I said, I give it a 4.5 for scares.
And I like it too, because a lot of times the Yetis, now they would come out in full form, and they'd be all up in your face, big Yeti. But then a lot of times too, they had them coming out of like windows, things. So you're not getting the full form, but you're getting the full form of a Yeti coming through a window at you. Where it's a tiny window, and all of a sudden you see this figure coming in at you.
When I'm walking and I'm tall, and you got the Yeti from up top of his hand, I'm talking about reaching down hard, trying to grab, and so I'm sitting there trying to duck around because that hand's going to knock me right.
That hand would have hit you in the head. But then that one set in that Yeti to where the floor has broken through.
Oh man!
And this, some of this stuff you can only see really when you're on the tour, boys and ghouls, is when you really get a chance to take your time and look up at that floor that's broken through. You can see the full upper floor of a cabin. I'm talking fireplace. There's deer on the wall. There's bass on the wall. There's furniture up there. They've recreated what would happen if the floor of this cabin actually fell through and you could still see up to the first floor. And because watching the videos doesn't even do it justice, because you see a little bit of it. You see a little bit of, they've broken through the floor. When you do that tour and you get to see all that goes on up there, it's like a set above a set.
Right.
And that was just what really got me on how much went into this house.
Now, I'm with you. Like I said, you're hitting great on the immersiveness of this.
Yeah.
And we talk about how we want to see a 1950s camper, and boy, do you get it.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last video. You wonder if they're going to have a 1950s camper. Sure enough, they do. And it's got a severed head inside.
Oh, exactly. So you see that projection of the woman and her dog getting killed.
The head smacking on the glass.
If it bothers you to see animals get hurt, just think, it's just it's just a projection.
It's the comedy house.
Yeah,
but it's pretty damn scary for the comedy house.
Mentioning, like you mentioned that head, you see the head banging up against the door, and you just know she probably deserved it.
Yeah, she was being rude in the campground. But that lake too, that lake area that they've constructed with the bodies floating face down, and even the if you look off in the distance, the fireflies are going off. So there's so much that you really need to do multiple runs.
And you have the smells in there as well. Like it almost smells like parts of it almost smell like ET because you get the
pine
and
pine.
But
then you got that bathroom that didn't smell very good. No,
and so you got the snake popping out. So I mean, that's definitely the kind of place you want to go pop a squat when you're walking in the woods.
But this is a great house, and I mean, you need multiple runs.
You do,
because you're not going to get it all in one unless you do the tour as well.
And the tour is great because they have such little things that you can't get on the walkthrough. Because I mean, and obviously you understand it because you got long wait times, but they're trying to usher you through as quickly as possible. Yes. But when you actually sit there and take it in, you see like a little note congratulating the ranger on his retirement and how they had to pick him to Florida. And then you look to your right,
happy retirement,
and
Fred.
He's lay there burning up in the fire.
Yep, Fred is gone.
So
But
yeah, for me, immersiveness, I'm giving this one an easy 5 for me.
Yeah.
And the only thing, like I said, I have no picking nits for it as far as immersiveness goes. How about you?
Yeah, no, this was great. This is just, I mean, it's a beautiful house. Mm-hmm. It's really well done, and I mean, it seems like everybody that designed it and everybody that took part in acting had fun in it. They designed it for fun, and the actors were having fun.
Yep.
So they were like, we're going to build you a playground, and you big bastards are going to just run through and do whatever you, you know.
So like overall, then I give this one 4.5
Yeah.
out of 5, and like I said, it was pretty close to being a 5 for me.
Yeah.
My only pick and nits that kind of brought me down is I was really looking forward to seeing the chest burst with the hand coming through.
Yeah.
And on leave in the comments if I'm wrong, if you've seen it on any of the runs I've went on,
Yeah,
any
we
of the
didn't
videos.
get
I've not
those.
seen that yet.
Yeah, we didn't get the real cool kill like that, you know. And usually in the Yeti house there is a cool kill. There's
Yeah.
a spine rip. There's a head coming off. There's a, you know. So, but yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go ahead and give it a, you know, I'm going to say 4.5, maybe 5. I'm still on the fence.
Yeah,
so
actually,
we'll leave that in limbo,
teetering.
folks. Yeah.
So, I mean, that does it for this half of the reviews of the houses. Let us know in the comments, like I said, are we on point with our reviews? Are we a little bit too harsh? Are we too nice about it? Leave us some comments. Let us know what you thought of the houses. We'd definitely love to hear what you got during your runs.
Yeah, let us know some scares you got during your runs of these houses, because we love to hear, because, you know, that's the beauty of it. Not everybody gets the same scares.
They don't.
What
Right.
got you might not even get me, might get the person way back here in the line. So then you hear some screams, and you know whatever's going on back there is working. So
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, let us know. And as always, stay tuned. We're going to bring you the part 2 of the house reviews, and then later on we're going to bring you the rankings, our personal rankings. These are just our own personal rankings, where they fall 1 through 10 within, you know. And you got to see it a few more times than I did. You got to go on opening night.
Yep.
You know, whereas then we had our trip, we got to go a couple of times. So
And this has been one, for some reason, I've noticed gets shut down a lot for this one and Dueling Dragons, but most of this one gets shut down for puking.
puking, yeah. And I don't know if it's the booze,
The
or
smells.
I mean the smells, or what. But you people need to learn to control your something.
Yeah.
Maybe don't eat that hot dog.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe I'm blaming the hot dog.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
We're going with the hot dog.
But
So-
make sure, Booze and Ghouls, if you love this video, give us that like. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and join the party. Go ahead and share this
That's
video
right.
with your friends.
That's right. And any Yetis you might know.
Yeah.
Because you might know some living in a camper in the woods, and maybe
In this
they're
part of the country, definitely.
playing hacky sacks.
Wanting their hot sauce.
Hacky sacks and hot sauce. As always, friends and fiends, remember, blood and guts. HHN, blood and guts.